Welcome to the Bohol Island treasure hunt. Spoiler alert, it doesn't take a lot of searching, just takes an open mind, open set of eyes while you're exploring around. In systems biology, there's a principle called the edge effect. And it is the observation that at the boundaries, at the thresholds between where two worlds come crashing together is where some of the most interesting things happen. And some of that is just the consequence of the different groups of species sharing a blurry space, a blurry line, where they're doing their survival behaviors. Eating, hunting, mating, all those things. The reason why I'm going to use that as an analogy is it's really jumped out at me as I've been exploring around Bohol, searching for the national cultural treasures which are all over this island. And everywhere I went, looking for a different list of which of those buildings was on the list was different. So I decided, you know what? I'm just going to pick all of the places in all of the towns. The thing that jumped out at me as I was traveling around this island is how much you are always on or near or within like sight distance of just those thresholds and boundaries everywhere on Bohol. So we're talking about wherever the sea meets the reef and the reef meets the mangrove and the mangrove meets the shoreline, the river meets the terraced rice hills, the jungles, the mountains. It's everywhere. You can always, from where you're at, see the transition into other things, which makes for an incredibly rich visual feast the whole time you're moving around, going from town to town. Now, speaking of boundaries, there's a phenomenon called motion parallax, which you are aware of whether you realize it or not. If you're traveling in something, a car, a motorcycle, a train, an aircraft, it doesn't matter, and you're in really open spaces, it doesn't feel like you're moving very fast. But the closer you are to the tree lines, to those thresholds, the faster it feels like you're traveling. That rush is because of how fast you see all of the details going by you. So that sensation of movement gets more visceral the closer you are. The analogy of motion parallax is not quite so relevant to the experience of Bohol, but what I've started to think of as time parallax, where when you have the context of things of profoundly different ages, it can make you a little bit disoriented and confused as to just exactly where you fit into these timelines. Everywhere you go, you're gonna brush elbows and shoulders with traditions that have lasted hundreds of years, sustainable practices of production agriculture that have proven themselves over time. This is the Walk. I think at these buildings, there's something for everybody to admire and find awe in, whether it's how intricate some of the carvings are, whether it's the fact that the stone that makes up these blocks is millions of years old. Interestingly enough, this is not on any of the lists that I saw, which is quite to my surprise, because a walk through this in the evening when it's getting dark and the lights come up is intense. It is a beautiful cathedral. As I've traveled around Southeast Asia, it doesn't matter whether it's a mosque, a temple, a cathedral. When I see the age of the building and the incredible amount of work that goes into construction and the artistic elements, and in stone flooring feel the grooves of what is hundreds of years of footsteps wearing those walkways. Imagine how many generations of people have spent as much time here for whatever their personal reason is, giving thanks for their blessings, begging for miracles or forgiveness for their transgressions, or everything in between, social gathering point. It's probably all of these things for different people at different times. So at the same time that I marvel at the friction between these timelines, how old these buildings are, since the day they were built, some things have never changed. The human condition, for all of the intense and glorious beauty we experience, as well as the torture and the suffering that we go through in our lives, where you can't have one without the other. Let's go take a look around the southwest half of Bohol. Take a look at these national cultural treasures and appreciate them for a brief moment of our lives. The Baclayon Cathedral, definitely the most tourist frequented, because anybody taking a tour on a bus and a van, this is along your way. Museum inside, 150 pesos to get in for general admission. It's 100, if you fit into a discounted category. So there's a coral stone out front, the main entrance, saying 1595. The ladies that work inside were telling me that was the year they started building the first version with primitive materials. But apparently the coral stone church was not completed until 1727. It was damaged extensively in the earthquake, but they finished the restoration renovations 2017. This one feels so different because there's so much of what I'm doing right now. All this photo taking, cathedrals across the highway right there. We got Baluarte going on, right? This kind of network of concrete and rock, docks, boat docks. Not a lot happening out here right now, mostly just people hanging out. Little bit of fishing going on. We got the pickleball in the covered court, but right over here, right up against the highway, all the food, the grills. So I've come out here for dinner just to change it up. So this is a good spot because you can stretch out your legs a little bit. The traffic dies way down once it gets dark. And as always, it just looks completely different in the daytime than the nighttime. Prices on the food. As soon as you get out of Panglao, the prices drop in Tagbilaran, but then once you leave Tagbilaran, the prices drop even more. So it's really affordable food out here. So they'll have a half a dozen people offering up all the chicken barbecue stuff, tuna jaw, panga. Got some CC happening. They'll have all the smoothies and tea and coffee on this side here, and it's like crowded, popular at night. So we are in the cathedral in Albur, Albuquerque. This church is incredible inside and outside. These timber columns, they're telling me everything is at least a century old. I thought I read 1800s completion. Even the tile, stone flooring, Santa Monica, and the woodwork, the craftsmanship behind these. They don't have all the lights up, so you probably can't see as well as I can. But what's so cool about all these cathedrals is the painting on the ceilings is totally different in all of them. So the town plaza is co-located with the cathedral grounds. And it's fiesta season all over the island. The schedule of events from town to town is nonstop for months. These chairs are gonna be full in a couple of hours. The music will be going. You can hear it from a kilometer down the highway as you're approaching. They've got a central public market. The building looks impressive, but there isn't a ton going on. It's, we're on the highway coming from Tagbilaran, Albur. There's just so much traffic up and down this line. You'll see those series buses just flying down the highway back and forth. So if you see one behind you, get off the road, let them go by. You don't want them behind you. You want to be behind them. We are in the Loay Cathedral right now. So you can feel how uneven, kind of curvy, groovy the flooring is. We're surrounded in a courtyard by like a religious academy. And can you see that? The organ that's up there? That's as big as the one on Sikihor. It looks almost as if. I bet when all the lights come up, the paint job, the artwork is super cool. We're up on a hill from Loay, and most people are just flying through, but this is a super chill courtyard area. From down below, when you're looking for this cathedral, you're seeing these buildings that look like abandoned and destroyed, so you would think that it didn't fare so well in the earthquake. Oh no, this thing is just fine. This is the bridge going into Loay. So when you get there, you're gonna These are the floating resto, Rio Verde floating resto. And they have firefly watching. Two options. You have a lunch cruise, be here at 10:30, goes till 1:30, 2:30. And then they do a dinner cruise, be here at 6 o'clock, and firefly watching included with that. The lunchtime one is 1,150 pesos per person. The dinner with firefly watching is 1,000 pesos per person. I mean, they said I could come on here. Oh, like polished hardwood floors. And this is great because it's a big enough boat with coverage that even if it started really raining on you, you would be fine. Holy cow, they've got a few of these going. It's the turtle boat. Yeah, we are getting close to sunset. Oh man, this would be fun. If you're gonna make your reservations, the Facebook page is the way to do it. And there's a lot of really good photo opportunity corners and corridors and hallways out here. Now, it's not that just at the nighttime it becomes a total party. The thing is, this week is Fiesta Week here in Loay. If you're gonna be here on Bohol a long time exploring and you're intent on seeing as much as you can, do it the way I have learned to do on accident, which is move through these towns. The fiesta process moves around the island over the course of months, so it's like the party never ends. The food is amazing, the price is right, and each time it moves to a different town, you're gonna meet a ton of people if you're, you know, one of the only foreigners that's hanging around. Let's talk about the town of Loboc for a second. Quite a bit of, like, you know, infrastructure for the tourism stuff, the floating restaurant things. So this is the most famous and widely known firefly watching. Apparently it's about a 7-kilometer stretch of the river where you can do that. Also Maribojoc. This one's much more robust. You got some more of the floating restaurants. Up the river, both sides, there are quite a few like really cool lodging options. So right where I'm standing, walking, across the street, in case you're wondering, what's all that noise? I've been here at night before, and it's really, really cool the way they have the church lit up and the old belfry, bell tower here, and the plaza. A very charming place in the evening when I was here at sunset time. There was plenty of people just kind of sitting around. The tour guides for fireflies told me the quality of your tour or your seeing of the fireflies is highly dependent on weather. So that if it's been raining a whole bunch, you won't see them. But if it's been clear for, you know, a day or two at least, then you get really good sightseeing. Most of the town resources are centered around the plaza here. So the original parish was established in the 1590s here. This building was finished in 1734. That's a long time. Oh, we are just catching it at the best time with all the sound coming out. I've passed through the town of Lila probably 10 times at least. And the church, the cathedral, has never been open. It's just a small coastal town, but the area surrounding is lush, green jungles. And I've always been curious to see the inside of this because of the color scheme. The swallows doing laps around the building. You can see like these lines of age. But I really like the way we've got the blue and white kind of a canvas and then the really old paintings up top.
Then, how does each of his ear?
I'm inside the Santo Niño Church Cathedral in Valencia, just past Dimiao. So we're probably an hour outside of Tagbilaran. And maybe you're wondering, because I always have, like, how are they getting up there and painting the ceilings? We've got a totally blank canvas in here, but check this out. This is like such a great view into it that we're getting. This is how they get up there to do that. Maybe there's also some like repair and renovation post the last big earthquake that damaged so many of the cathedrals. It has to be the original hardwood floors, kind of like, I've only really seen this in a couple of places, one being on Siquijor, that really famous church. Open air windows with stained glass above. Look at that. All of them have like these huge, the old doors, but you can't always see it on camera like you can in person. And then kind of the more human scale ones, tiles, very old, established in 1870. You can tell on the inside, more so than the outside, it's the original coral stone construction. Maybe they've had to rebuild some of it, but with the new roof. So the town of Valencia. Every time I'm going past, I will just pull over to walk on the sand here. Very local, very family. When the sunset, you can see it kind of here. Beautiful sunset here a couple of times now. There's a lot of resources out there on the main road. Valencia's a bigger town compared to some of the towns on the island. But hey man, if you were just looking for a place where there's no foreigners, I'm the only one you're gonna see. Well, if you're on a long stretch of moto through the highway, need a break, walk around, thumbs up, man, thumbs up. I am in Garcia Hernandez, and I'm so glad I stopped at this church to come see the inside. The caretakers have let me come up to show you this. That in this church is evidently one of only 3 remaining in the Philippines with the original. Oh, we've got like bats flying around up here. So the original coral stones and that headpiece, I don't know what you call that in like old Mason terms. Look at this. Dude. Oh, this thing is huge. Here's the organ. And these columns are old hardwood. He was suggesting that the pathway, the cross-shaped pathway, is the original. You know, and I've even noticed like in the back storerooms of these churches, I bet there are priceless historical artifacts, different little like monuments of faith. Same thing with the church in Taos. There was stuff that was like, oh my God, museum pieces. Mr. Jeffrey here, who's like one of the caretakers, he's telling me most of the paintings in the center and then on that west side of the building ceiling, it's Christianity, story, history of, but on this east side, it's the history of Garcia Hernandez and the construction of the church. So dating back to early Spanish missionaries, construction, you have uprising times and arrival of new, everything under the sun. You know, I'll leave you to study up on all that. So in different phases of renovation, apparently, they never have actually changed the altar. That's one of the few remaining original altars in the Philippines. Here's the town. They invited me inside to take a look at this because they were so proud of it. First of all, the patron saint of Garcia Hernandez and the church is John the Baptist. So before they built the statue inside of John the Baptist, this painting, this is the oldest relic of faith that they have. This was painted in 1768 on sheepskin. Imagine that. So there's a bunch of people behind the camera because they're very shy, but they are watching me film. I said, oh, we've got to tell everybody about this. So now I'm in one of these side rooms to the side of the altar. And some of this furniture, the size, this is absolutely huge. This dresser. And you can see the old coral stones and then, you know, different layers of paint, plaster over time, some modernization. But look at how ornate the woodwork is. The entire altar is covered. And it goes up into like the sunlight dome. I don't know what you call that. Oh, this had to take so long to have made. And it looks like that's all one piece of hardwood, but it's just like split over time. And I think you're appreciating it as much as I am. The fiesta in this town is almost a month long. So their actual fiesta day is June 24th and they started the party May 27th. It's not on the main highway, so I couldn't find it in the beginning and I thought, oh, everyone's lying to me. No, it really is happening, but you have to come off the highway to Freedom Park. We've got some thrift sellers going on. The food booths are just getting started to open up and the prices are pretty doggone affordable. It looks totally dead right now because the party hasn't started yet. They're mining limestone out of the mountainside there. This part of the island, everywhere from about Lila, Dimiao, all the way to Hagna, when you go up into these mountain roads, if you don't even find the spring, the waterfall, the fill in the blank that you're looking for out there, don't ever tell yourself like, oh, it was a wasted day. Every single time I have spent a day looking and not found what I was looking for, it is still a beautiful, beautiful drive up into these mountains. Lush greenery, rice terraces everywhere, winding roads, rivers running under you and past you. Take solace there. Windy.com. And if you turn it into the satellite mode, that website gives you a really good heads up of like, oh, don't go that direction on the island. You're just gonna stay wet the whole time. Go this direction. It's consistently inconsistent, like really fast, aggressive, unstable things will form and like spread out and just soak you. So some days you're lucky, you can stay in front of it. Have one of those cover tarp things if you're riding around this island. Hagna. So it has a very different look outside from the rest. Looking closely at the details, you can see the old coral stone, but just more contemporary paint job, distinctly different in its major outlines, and yet the same. So we, in this case also, like the newer metal roof. Hagna, definitely a busy port town. But here in the plaza, big trees, some fountains that aren't blasting water at the moment, but across the street is the cathedral, St. Michael the Archangel. The town itself has kind of this gritty port feel to it. And you might be wondering, what is this all about? Why would you have the whole perimeter of your plaza decorated with these? If you want to get your hands on or taste a Bohol Island original, this is Calape. There is a factory in Albuquerque that some of the tour buses will pass through, but here at Ching's Calape, this is the OG. They are the original creators and purveyors of this. So this is the Calape with, it's like crunchy peanut mix flavored, and then the ube flavored. That's for heroes right there, huh? So it's like a coconut encapsulated thing. This will cost you 130 pesos, and there's quite a bit of it in here. Best to be spreading it on bread, right? Yeah. Or just take a spoon to it and eat it yourself. It's super thick. The consistency of it will amaze you. Now here at the factory, if you want to do the tour and see how they make it, from 10 a.m. is the first time to go, and the cutoff is like 1 p.m. They make a great gift, souvenir. You cannot take them internationally, but within the Philippines, absolutely. The center of all traffic, business, activity, movement, noise, and hagna is right here. This is the port activity right back here. We'll go take a look. The main circumferential highway passes right through town. We got some of these roads that go up into the mountains. The central public market that is within that building, a whole bunch of restaurants all the way around, series of right-hand turns, one-way traffic only, all of your boats going from here to Mindanao and back, Camiguin and back. That is how you go in to load, whether you're rolling on, rolling off, or walking on, walking off. But you can't just walk up. You need to go to this red and white building here, and we'll get our tickets. They have boats going to Mindanao every night of the week. Nighttime boats to CDO, Cagayan de Oro. The ticket cost is somewhere in the neighborhood of like 1,000 to 1,500 pesos, depending on quality of your accommodations. You come to the end here if you're going to Camiguin, daily boats at 2:30 p.m. Anywhere from regular 1,000 to the aircon nicer ones, almost 1,400 pesos. And all of these have roll-on, roll-off. If you forgot to go to Ching's Calamay, you can load up on it. There's a hotel right here. So behind me, we got the wet section, the meat, the fish. And we're about to walk by the fresh produce, the fruity section. Prices are looking pretty good. These are some of the lowest I've seen on island. But you could even play some pickleball to kill some time, get some exercise while you're here. And there's tons of life, human activity. It's quite a high energy place. It's a theme that keeps recurring around town. All these guys lined up on both sides, so you can get anywhere you need to go within reason. If you're here for the night and you want like a nice seaside place to have dinner, got you covered. Let's go take a look. So we've come out the other end, the little road going to the main highway, and we find ourselves at the Hagna Food Park. Handful of restaurants back there. Lovely, quiet, peaceful place to do dinner. You will not find white sand beaches here per se, so port activity right there. And it's a seawall. That's a couple of 100 meters probably, end to end. Got a pretty nice resto bar. Sit around and do the lounge thing during the evening. And we have some other larger sort of single restaurant establishments here up and down the line. And then another food park. So you've got choices. We're just on the outskirts of Maribojoc. And this side, so there aren't just Firefly tours going out of Loboc. Maribojoc also has close to 3,000 pesos, including your transportation, even if you're coming from Alona. And that includes a meal. The kayaking is what goes on here. That's another way you can look them up. So we're right on the circumferential highway, and Maribojoc is just right up that hill. So 750 meters down, there's another one. It's a very big operation, and they do the motorized boats also. But they also have the kayak option, and they have food, because you're there late into the evening. On the kayak and the boat tours, they go a couple kilometers up the river, then float back down in that peak time. If you can do the kayak, that has a more gentle footprint on the environment, because the motorized boats stir up the sediment and kill the larvae of the firefly. So on the one hand, it's something that, like, if you've never seen it before, it is an incredible thing to see. At the same time that doing so is hastening their demise. You know, there's a lot of things in this world that carry that duality So what's the right thing to do? I don't know. I've been up and down the highway trying to see if like, oh, I could find spots to see it without the help of being on a boat. And I could not find it here in Maribojoc. I did find some in Loboc. The crazy thing about fireflies, if you've never seen them, when you first spot them, you almost think your brain or your eyes are playing tricks on you. It's faint. They kind of like bleep in and out of existence. Almost like quantum mechanics, you know, the way we understand electrons to... Anyway, well, that got weird. But you're gonna get a much quieter existence and experience if you're staying longer term in some of these villages right outside of Tagbilaran. Let's go look. This is the Maribojoc Cathedral. The interior lights are not on, but at least with the sunlight coming in, as the sun's going low, it kind of creates these little beams through the open air windows and the painting on the ceiling. It's always worth a stop for a few minutes just to appreciate how long this building has been here. And it's always so obvious how much work went into this. The original tile floors, I think these are the original blocks made from coral stone, but it's very obvious. Every town, every village you are going into in Bohol, the original construction was the center of gathering of population. And there's always a plaza within a block of that. And it kind of directionally points out to the old ancient fishing ports. Somewhere nearby that is where you're gonna see, you've got basketball courts in almost every town, but more and more now you're gonna see tennis courts, pickleball. Pickleball is like viral here. So also next to these cathedrals and plazas and the fishing ports, one block that way is the central market and all of those resources. You know, you can live so affordably if you're just doing the simple thing like rice, beans, fresh caught fish, and some other staples, eggs that are always readily available at those markets. You can still find in those public markets a lot of things that'll help you get by. So right across the street from the church, this is the plaza. When I first rode through this town, I thought, oh my God, this place is asleep. There's nothing going on here, but that is not true. The plaza park is right over there. And they are already starting to do the food on this street here. I came and had dinner here one night. It was actually very good. So then right there is where I take the curvy road out to the big port dock. Cathedral's behind me, and you can come in on the motorbike path that way, curvy. Or you can take their ancient stairway. This one's not as big as the Loon stairs that are a cultural treasure, but it brings you right out to the port. And at night, it's probably 5 o'clock right now. Dinner is already being prepared. And this is very popular. It's very big, it's very long. It's a great, you can watch the sunset behind the mountains. The mangroves are everywhere. Very much a walkability point, a gathering point. And you know, within an hour, all the food is going to be out. There are going to be so many people here. So I don't know if you can tell. I think Maribojoc's pretty cool. And you're not that far from Tagbilaran. Do you hear that? Silence, except for the waves and the odd rooster up there. We're at the Punta Cruz Watchtower. This thing was built in 1796. So you got stairways where you can, on both sides of this structure, get down. So much open space there. This is really a nice area. Costs you 20 pesos to get in. The lady, she'll let you know right when you get here. Places to sit and eat. Protect yourself if it's midday sun. You know, my vote is on the drive from Maribojoc to Loon. It's worth a stop just to stretch your legs and appreciate the view. Plenty of room to park. Some guys throwing the ball around. Uh-oh. But while you're driving to Loon, if the time is right that you're just hitting sunset, this is like a huge beach area. You know, you don't have to stay for more than a minute or even just pause. I think you're getting the picture if you don't like crowds of tourists at the beaches. This might be for you. I mean, I'm just starting to figure out how big Bohol is. How big Bohol is. So now when you get to Loon, the cathedral, the plaza, it's worth getting out and looking around. And if the doors are open, take a peek inside, the ceiling, the layout, the age of it. And then as soon as you come outside, just as a matter of pilgrimage, right down here, the ancient stairway. Now, I'm not going to tell you that it's a tourist destination to be here, but get off your motorbike, stretch out your legs. You can really sense how much work probably went into it and how well it was built, because it stood the test of time. And you can just follow that pathway to the small fishing pier, and you can see the sunset back there if you wish to, if the time is right for you. We are on the western edge of Sandingan Island. So if you want to keep going to the next further island out, and I can see lights on, you probably can't. Getting to Sandingan Island, it's like a land bridge through mangroves. But there's people like walking and jogging it, and then there's like a perimeter road around. It probably took me 10 minutes to get from the land bridge to the port, into the line, for easy, practical exploring on a motorbike. Though a little bit rough down here, it's pretty much white sand. It would hurt to go barefoot. But I feel like on the ride around the circumference, I was seeing a lot of pathways out to the water. This is Calape. The plaza, the town square, the cathedral. It's got that very Gothic touch to it. So much activity, which I don't understand, because it's kind of like there's no, port features or geographic reason why it should be so busy around here. Today is May 7th. Their fiesta is 3 days from now, May 10th. So just beyond the plaza, they have the big food festival thing going on. I have passed through here in the dark 4 times now. This is the first time I've seen it in the daylight. I thought maybe it was just the nighttime that the party started. The last time I was here, the Calape Cathedral choir was practicing inside. They sounded so good because of the echo, the reverberation that you get inside the church when they're doing their thing. So this is where the food activity is going on. And if you have a chance to be here touring around when all of these municipalities have all this action going on, it is so much fun. They were almost like not sure what to make of me because they don't see any foreigners here. It is safe to say we are at the port of Calape. It's surprising the contrast between the means of transportation and how sophisticated these travelers look. They're going out to the smaller islands. St. Isidore the Farmer Cathedral in Tubigon. So this city definitely meets a critical mass quiz. Looking down on the plaza, which goes out to the port 2 or 3 blocks with a central market, public market. It's at least one university. I mean, you got your triad of 24-hour food services, McDonald's, Chowking, Jollibee, hospitals, pharmacies, small mall at the very least, the Alturas Mall. There is a BQ supermarket down that way. There is a port, so the boats go twice a day, every day to Cebu. All the banks are here with ATMs. You have multiple roads in and out. There is definitely multiple construction sites that I saw. They're building a really big bus terminal up the highway. The plaza will tell you a lot. How many people are hanging out there? There's a lot of people out and about in this city. I would think this place could be a lot of fun. I've seen one other Westerner. So if you were looking to tread a unique path, all the resources are all here that you could do it and branch out to other places. Because Bohol is a big enough island, there's, just looking at the map, it's hard to know what would feel comfortable as like base of operations around the island. Big cultural center, got the Dunkin', lots of restaurants. I've seen a handful of hotels and apartment buildings, some of them looking pretty well built. On the back side of the public market, other side would be the port activity and the waterfront. We've got like the makeshift bus terminal going on here. Half of these are going back to Tagbilaran. We got a San Miguel bound via Tubigon, Sagbayan, and then one through Antequera back. It's market day, it's Friday. It's not fiesta time yet, but apparently that explains how much activity there is going on here right now. So we'll take a quick walk through the market. We've got charcoal for sale, half coconut shells for sale, fresh produce, eggs, piles and piles of eggs. Here, there's like a lot of fishing docks and port stuff, but there's no real beaches to do the beach thing. But what a beautiful final few moments of sunlight on this Friday night. Tucked back in the markets, Light Cat is the company, the catamaran company. You've got boats going back and forth, leaving both places, Tubigon and Cebu, 1 a.m., 4 a.m., 7 a.m., 10 a.m., and then the same thing in the PM cycles, 1, 4, 7, 10. If you decide you are wanting to stay in those smaller villages on this side of the island, I mean, so far, this is the logistics hub. This is where your resources are at. Tubigon. We are in the municipality of Cortes. This is probably the 5th time I've been through here, and normally it is just so quiet. We're up on elevated ground. This is a highway through, but it's not the main circumferential highway around the island. A little bit of food, but this town has gone to sleep after 8 o'clock at night, mostly. I'd met a real estate broker couple at dinner one night, and they told me that there was a surprising number of foreigners living up here in these highlands. And I thought, that is surprising. I had already been through here a couple of times. So we got the cathedral right over there. This is the plaza. Not much to the plaza. Got kind of a bare bones court. And the only thing I can think of is, I mean, it's quiet up here. It is peaceful up here for sure. And that's probably the draw, but also the proximity to Tagbilaran. But you're up above. I mean, and these are real considerations. God, I'm just figuring that out more and more here in the Philippines. That will really change the game for you. So this is Cortes. Welcome to the town of Corella. Lush green landscapes, feels a little more open space. Temperatures are a little bit cooler. So here's the cathedral, got some shots inside. There's definitely some renovation, repair stuff going on. I was told that the ceiling used to be completely painted, but as they're at the point where they're replastering and everything, it's very peaceful here. Actually, the real Tarsier Sanctuary is just outside of Corella, but where most of the tourist buses go is a different one on the way to the Chocolate Hills. So we are here at the Tarsier Sanctuary. Mr. Carlito Pizarras is who the species is named after. And this one is the original, and it's in the true habitat of the tarsier. This is not to scale. It turns out these things are fully grown, are the size of my fist. I'm told by the guides your best chance during open hours for tours is right when the place opens to see them moving around at all. But even then, it's extremely unlikely. That at night is when they do the jumping from trees and the eating, all the really interesting stuff to watch. If we had eyeballs the same relative size as these tarsiers, our eyeballs would be the size of grapefruits. It's 150 pesos for your tour, plenty of parking, there's buses dropping people off. Now officially this place closes at 3:30 in the afternoon every day except Sunday 3 o'clock. We had great guides in there. You know, there's high school kids doing it as OJT stuff that will help you see them in the trees. Everybody out there is smiling because you're expecting them to be big, like the normal size of a monkey, and they're not. They're so small that everybody's like, oh, how adorable. And there's information here about how you can donate to the Philippine Tarsier Sanctuary. Apparently they remain under great threat because there is still black market illicit trafficking of them. They can live for 20 years in their native habitat right here, but once they're taken out, they can only live for about a month. So please don't. Please don't. Let's talk about Antequera. It's a charming little village, got, you know, the public central market going on. We got the covered basketball court, this plaza courtyard, tons of places to sit. The first time I came through here, it was like middle of the night. I'd been out on the coast so long. The highway is in great shape. It's fun driving. On the front end and the back end, there's some great views, vistas of the ocean. You know, if you're doing that as a road trip late at night, they've got like the 24-hour burger, they've got bakeries. There was a bunch of people hanging out here, playing basketball. I'm in the Balilihan Cathedral in the mountains, seeking refuge from the rain. The lights aren't on inside, but it's a beautiful, beautiful church. This older cathedral is right on the plaza, the town square. It's pretty small. Balilihan is. They have a university here because I just met a group of students. We got some serious, you'd almost think you're in the mountain jungles of Bohol here, because you are. So we got a central market here. Big building. That classic market architecture. I talked to the fire department. They said, you know, 911 services are available up here. So you have to be careful because you can set out wanting to do one thing and then your day takes a turn for the worse. So this is Balilihan. Here in the town center, yes, you've got the trikes. I am in Batuan, in the highlands, in the middle of the island, pretty much. St. James Greater Parish, closed up. I bet it's pretty cool inside. Check this out, the plaza. Oh my God. This is like the cleanest, most new and modern-ish, but yet traditional plaza I've seen. All kinds of like exercise equipment. I mean, these people are taking good care. Got the pickleball, basketball, tennis. Yeah, this town is bustling with activity. I'm like at the very edge of town, and I mean, right when you come in, the triangle of the three highways coming together is the public market. So you're just gonna have to trust me that it's like, holy cow, there's a lot of activity. And now I'm making my way to Carmen. Hopefully I can get there before the sun goes down. Let's do this. once you come out of Batuan down the hill, you drop into the Chocolate Hills complex. This time of year, you can see there's no way you can appreciate, because I've seen every Bohol and Chocolate Hills video that exists. It's something you have to see with the naked eye. I got here, oh, so lucky, in the final minutes of sunlight. When you park down below, oh my gosh, it only cost me 100 pesos to get in. And they're like, oh, you can ride your motorbike all the way to the top. Lots of stairs to climb, but it's all around you. And when you look at the map and the satellite images, it is a huge complex, these hills. So this is only just a tiny portion of it. There's bathrooms up here. They've got a shuttle bus that goes down to the parking lot free to get you back to your vehicle or your big bus or whatever. It's kind of like the Grand Canyon. You don't have to stare for long before you appreciate and you can move on. So I would totally recommend, if you have freedom of maneuver, to do what I just did, going up, riding through Balilihan, Batuan, towards Carmen to get to this. That ride is so beautiful. Then there's not all that much traffic on that road compared to when I turned up from Loboc. And that road is in pretty rough shape and so dangerous, especially when it was wet. Anyway, food for thought. Let's go. All right, we're in Carmen, and I am 0 for 2 on trying to see the inside of this, which is too bad. The little human doors, the giant ovular doors, whatever you would call that, arched. No luck for us. Carmen, the town itself, it's definitely a junction town. It's like just right in the middle of the island pretty much. So all the buses going from Tagbilaran over to the other side. The plaza, curiously, like all wrought iron gated off. The lights are not on here at night, which is very different than a lot of other plazas. So it's a busy town traffic wise. Kind of off the main road, there's this like T-shaped area where all the restaurants and most of the commerce happens. It's a small little town. The church, the Catholic church here, the wall structure of it looks very old, because it looks like, I mean, if you can see that, these are some pretty old elements, but then we've got some more contemporary tops. This is gonna be your plaza. We got a little pickup baseball game going on here. But here's your entry. The town hall. There's a little bit of public market and some small restaurant stuff. I have noticed when I'm coming back from different places, going different places, man, when the sun goes down, a town that seems dead is like all of a sudden the food is just everywhere at that first hour or two of darkness. Well, thanks for making it through this little touring chapter, and we will see you on the next go round.